Hi everyone, hope you're well. Today I'm going to talk about triads. Just going to make a really quick video because triads is quite a simple subject, but sometimes it can be made to sound like overly complicated. So basically, like a triad is just the three notes that make up either a major or minor chord. From the major scale, if you were going to make a major chord, you use the first note of the scale, the third note of the scale, and the fifth note of the scale. That's all you need for a triad. And pretty much 95% of guitar players already know this stuff, but they just don't look at it correctly, and they seem to kind of overcomplicate what triads are and how to actually use them. The good news is that you only really need three chord shapes to be able to know all your triads on all the string groups. So if we just start in the key of G, I'm going to go to this camera here. So here's G at the 3rd fret. Most people would play this chord like this. And if you look at that chord, there's quite a lot of things happening there. You've got all 4 fingers on all 6 strings, but you're only playing groups of 1s, 3s and 5s to make up a major chord. So what we can do is we can strip this chord down onto different string groups. So like those 3 strings there, these 3 strings, the next 3 strings and the top 3 strings. And if we break that chord down into all of those string groups, ignoring the first group just now, this shape here, that's a major chord right there. You can see it right there. And then on the next group of strings, you've got those 3 there. That's another major triad. And the top, that's another major triad. So you'll have a triad on each string group. So instead of seeing this as one chord, you can see this as three smaller chords all piled up on top of each other. If you take the first string group here, that's your power chord there, your 5 chord. Not strictly a triad. The triad needs the 1, 3 and 5 in it. So if you take this note here, and instead of being 2 frets behind these 2 notes, if we move this note here 2 frets above these notes, that would be your major triad on that group of strings. Honestly, you probably will never use that, so but it's good to know. The next shape that you need is this C shape chord. So here's your G at the 10th fret, and you're building a C chord backwards. And again, you just strip this chord down onto string groups, those 3, and those 3. And there's your first triad there. Your next triad on the middle group. And then your top triad, the wee D shape. So again, instead of just having so much information in this big clumsy chord, just strip it back. And you've got 3 smaller chords. So now you've got 6 G major chords instead of 2, 7 there. Or no, sorry, 8, because there's your triad here on the top strings as well. Again, you probably wouldn't use that. It sounds a bit kind of mushy that low down. But these are kind of practical ones you would use. I would use these ones. Same with these ones, I would just use these. But there's 8 G chords from 2 shapes. And the last shape is this guy here. And again, from your middle string, instead of having just exactly the same as what we did down there, this note here is 2 frets below these 2 chords. This would just be a power chord on that group of strings, but we can shift this note 2 frets higher than this. And we give a nice G chord there. G chord there on the middle strings, and G chord there on the top strings. And so you can hear how those are all the same notes, you're just restacking the order of those notes. And how I would kind of practice fitting those together and getting kind of used to seeing them up and down the neck is you can probably see something easy like a 1-4-5 progression. And G, that's just a G, G, C and D. And if you can see these as bar chords, then start stripping the bar chords down into comfortable shapes that you're happy with. If you can see this G, cut it down just to the middle strings, just to get used to seeing how these chords link together. So there's G, and then in my mind's eye, in my imagination, I'm seeing this, but I'm not playing that. I'm going to play just that middle group of strings from this. So there's my G, middle strings, C, middle strings, D, middle strings, G, middle strings from this big C shape, C from this shape, the middle strings, D, middle strings from that shape, G, just in the middle strings from that shape, and then C, from the C shape, middle strings, D, from the C shape of the middle strings, back to G. And then I would just pick songs that have just a few major chords in them, and then I would just try and translate those chords into triads. It's a really simple concept if you can visualize these and break them down. That's it. In the top strings, there's G on the top strings coming from this big shape. There's C on the top string coming from this big shape. D, G, C from this big shape. D from that big shape. G, C, and if you can see them on all string groups, it helps with a lot of fretboard visualization. You can start building scales around triads. If you know this is 1, 3, 5, you connect 1 to 3 via 2. You connect 3 to 5 via 4, etc. I'll cover that in more detail in a later video. But to really get the most out of these, if you're playing in gigs and stuff, I really tend to shy away from playing chords like that. there's just it sounds clunky and a bit mushy, and it can really get in the way of if you're playing in a band. It can really kind of clutter the sound. That to me sounds a bit nicer than that. And if you've got two guitar players, it's very, very easy then to split the parts. If someone plays a G here and someone plays a G there, they're far enough away frequency wise that they don't interfere with each other, and they're really, really good for layering tracks as well if you're writing songs. The possibilities are quite endless with triads, and again, it's nothing that you don't already know. Most people know all these chord shapes. It's just a case of then just being able to see them, visualize them without playing them, and then strip them down to the bare kind of string groups that these notes are on. So hope that clears up a wee bit. I'll cover up the minor ones, in the next few days. So enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye then.